You have made it through phrases and verbal phrases. And so we have had the chance to cover gerunds, participles, and infinitives. And now we're going to go to the verbal phrases. So open up your book to page 176 and read along with me. Here's the idea. A verbal phrase includes a verbal and any modifiers or complements it may have. As you have seen in the preceding lessons, there are three types of verbal phrases: gerund phrases, participial phrases, and infinitive phrases. A gerund phrase consists of a gerund plus its modifiers and complements. Like a gerund itself, the entire phrase is used as a noun. Gerund phrase is the subject. Sunning himself is Silas the snake's favorite activity. Sunning himself, you find that ing word, that kind of tips you off that there's a gerund there, but then you include all of the modifiers and everything in it. Sunning himself is the entire phrase, and it serves as the subject of the sentence. The next example, the gerund phrase is serving as the object of a preposition. So to find it, look for the ing, which would tell you there's a gerund there, and then also find that preposition. He likes it so much he forgets about eating his dinner. About is our preposition. Everything following that is the gerund acting as a preposition, as an object of the preposition, eating his dinner. A participial phrase consists of a participle plus its modifiers and complements. The entire phrase modifies a noun or a pronoun. Participial phrase, finishing his run. The horse walked for a few minutes. So finishing his run, the horse walked for a few minutes. His trainer, stunned by his speed, checked her stopwatch. All right, it's modifying the noun or the pronoun. Finishing his run is telling you about the horse. Stunned by his speed is telling about the trainer. An infinitive phrase consists of an infinitive plus its modifiers and complements. The entire phrase functions as a noun, an adjective, or an adverb. To run free in peace and solitude was Luna's greatest goal. That entire infinitive phrase is acting as the subject of the sentence. So it's a noun. The next one, she took every chance to escape from the house. That's an infinitive phrase serving as an adjective describing that the chance. She took every chance. Chance to do what? To escape from the house. It sounds like us in quarantine these days. Why does it matter in writing? You can use verbals and verbal phrases to make your descriptions flow. Notice how the revised description at the top of the next page flows better and conveys greater excitement than the draft. So at the top of page 177, you have the student model. It's a draft. Noble Cause galloped down 46th Street. He was racing after the criminal, hoping to catch him. The police horse panted and snorted. Finally, he stopped the villain in his tracks. Now with a revision with some verbal phrases. Galloping down 46th Street. Noble Cause raced to catch the criminal. Finally, the police horse, panting and snorting, stopped the villain in his tracks. So you can see where the revision allows a little bit better flow for that one. Let's look at the next section, page 177, A, concept check, verbal phrases. Write the verbal phrase in each sentence. Identify it as a gerund phrase, a participial phrase, or an infinitive phrase. Number 1, strolling around the neighborhood pleased Priscilla, a 3-month-old piglet. That phrase is a gerund, strolling around the neighborhood, and it's acting as the subject of the sentence. So that makes it a gerund phrase because it's a noun and it's ending in that ing. Number 2, Her owner, Victoria Herberta, would walk the slightly spoiled piglet on a purple leash. So I'm looking for that ED word. I look at that ED word and I see spoiled, and in front of it, slightly spoiled. And then I notice that slightly spoiled is describing the piglet. So that means it is a participial phrase. It's acting as an adjective. Number 3, Victoria taught Priscilla to swim with the family dogs. To swim. That is the big key there, the word to. And in that case, it's an infinitive phrase. And the infinitive phrase, I'm going to look back over here. It can function as a noun, an adjective, or an adverb. But the key is it starts with to. Number 4, one day a friend, Carol, took Priscilla to the lake to swim with her son, Anthony. Again, that word to should jump right out at you, to swim with her son, Anthony, and that is an infinitive phrase. And they went to the lake to swim. Number 5, Carol told Anthony to stay in the shallow water. To stay in the shallow water. To, again, the big clue right there. We go back over to page 176. An infinitive phrase includes the infinitive plus its modifiers, usually starts with to, can act as a noun, an adjective, or an adverb. Number 6, he decided to follow Carol and the pig into deep water. Infinitive phrase. Number 7, unfortunately, Anthony felt himself sinking fast. What did he feel? Sinking fast. Participial phrase. Number 8, rescuing Anthony was now necessary. We've got an ing there. Rescuing Anthony is acting as the entire subject of the sentence, so that's a gerund phrase. Number 10, grabbing Priscilla's leash, the boy held on tightly. The boy held on tightly. And in what manner? How did he do that? How's he being described? Participial phrase. Okay? Grabbing Priscilla's leash, the boy held on tightly. Who was grabbing the leash? The boy. Number 10, the 45-pound piglet began pulling the 90-pound boy back to shore. So pulling, ing, starts there. That's the part that kind of hits me. It's got an ing ending. And what did the 45-pound piglet begin doing? The direct object serves, it's being, completed as by a noun, performs the function of the direct object. And that is a gerund phrase. So please go back and look at, it's not, and again, I'm not trying to get you to be an expert. I just want to give you some front loading of information so that you've heard this before and you start to understand it, but it takes multiple exposures to really understand and get it. Let's go to this worksheet. A verbal phrase consists of a verbal and any modifiers or complements it may have. A gerund phrase consists of a gerund plus any complements or modifiers, and it's used as a noun. So over here, I'm just going to write gerund, noun. And then the next part, flying a kite can be fun. Kite, flying a kite. Kite is the complement object of flying. The gerund phrase, flying a kite, is used as the entire subject of the sentence. There are also useful reasons for flying a kite. Here it's an object of a preposition because for is a preposition. Flying a kite is the object of the preposition. A participial phrase consists of a participle plus its modifiers and complements. The entire phrase modifies a noun or pronoun. Flying a kite in a storm. Okay? Entire phrase modifies or tells about a noun or pronoun. Flying a kite in the storm is telling us about Benjamin Franklin and that he was almost hit by lightning. It modifies Ben Franklin. So here, participial phrase acts kind of like an adjective. So modifies a noun or a pronoun. Make notes for yourself that help you remember. Infinitive phrase consists of an infinitive plus its modifiers. The entire phrase functions as a noun, adjective, or an adverb. And that word there, to, tips you off. Ben decided to fly a kite in a storm to test his theory. The first infinitive phrase is used as a noun, telling what Ben decided. And then the second is used as an adverb. Why did he do it? Why did he do it? To test his theory. What did he decide to do? Fly a kite. Why? To test his theory. All right. So here you have your infinitive phrase is bold-faced. Your verbal phrase is in the bold writing here. Using the kite string as an electrical conductor, Franklin captured a bit of lightning. Okay? So here, this is telling you about Franklin. So it's a participial phrase. Number 2, the electricity captured during his experiment was safely stored in a Leyden jar. So telling you about electricity. That's your participial phrase. Number 3, Franklin's surviving the process was a kind of scientific miracle. This is the entire subject, so we know that is a gerund phrase, because if we go back up, remember that that acts as a noun. Number 4, knowing how dangerous it was, Franklin surely would never have attempted his kite experiment. So, knowing how dangerous it was is describing Franklin. Participial phrase. Number 5, I remember how my father loved flying kites. What's receiving the love? The flying kites. That's a gerund phrase. It's acting as a do. A do is a noun. Number 6, he loved to get out in the city park on a windy autumn afternoon. To get out. Notice anything there? Those are some of the easiest ones to find. Number 7, but he always warned me never to fly a kite in a storm. To fly a kite in a storm, infinitive phrase. Number 8, using balsa sticks and tissue paper, he made me my first kite. How was the kite made? What's describing the way the kite was made using balsa sticks and tissue paper? Participial phrase. Number 9, I remember thinking it was not very handsome. This entire thing is the direct object of what was remembered. Direct object is performed in the sentence by a noun, so we know this is a gerund phrase. Number 10, I'd give anything to have that kite now. To have that kite now, infinitive phrase, that to word. And remember, your infinitive also can serve as a noun, an adjective, or an adverb. So always be thinking about the parts of speech they play. Number 11, remembering my first kite brings back a lot of memories. So here, this is acting as the subject of the sentence. What brings back memories? The subject of the sentence, remembering my first kite. So in this case, that's a gerund phrase. Remembering my first kite, I'd like to make a kite for my son. I'd like to make a kite to make a kite. That's a gerund, That is an infinitive phrase. And right here is describing why you'd like to make a kite. So that's a participial phrase. Okay. Hopefully that helps there. And what I would like you to do for your assignment, see if I can find some blank space to write. Okay. For your assignment, I would like you to do page 608. I want you to do 7-4, numbers 1 through 10. And I will tell you how many phrases you're going to find in each one. For example, in number 1, there are 2 phrases. In number 2, there are 3 phrases. In number 3, there are 2 phrases. Number 4 has 3 phrases. Number 5 has 1. 6 has 1. 7 has 2. 8 has 1. 9 has 2. And number 10 has 2. And what I would like you to do is write out the phrase. So the first part of each sentence is write out the phrase and then label it as either a gerund phrase, a participial phrase, or an infinitive phrase. Okay, so it's got 2 parts. 1 point for writing out the phrase and a second point for telling me what kind of phrase it is. So for example, this one is going to be worth 4 points. This one's going to be worth 6 points. 4 points. Is this making sense? This is going to be 6 points. 2 points. 2 points. 4 points. 2 points. 4 points. And 4 points. Do your best. Remember, I'm not expecting perfection. I'm not expecting you to be a scholar grammarian at this point. This is exposure. Do your best. Give me a concerted effort and we're good to go. You can do this. Thanks.